Well, good evening. This is Hound Dog Steve coming to you on the 12th of November. And here it is. The new crypto report is in. I've just downloaded it and I will be digesting that. It's called Crypto Storm. So that will be coming up in the next couple of days once I get a chance to go through that. Anyway, I saw this joke in the paper the other day, and there you see a camel jumping through a hoop. And I wondered how many people would actually get this joke. Basically that is a needle and the camel is jumping through the eye of the needle, and that is because and it says, "I gotta love a loophole," and it's because Jesus said in the Bible that it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get through the gates of heaven. And of course this joke is referring to Justin Trudeau. Here we go. Sunny ways turn dark. Liberals pumping the privileged, abandoning the promises. Trudeau protecting big fish in Paradise Papers. The Paradise Papers, this was a leak just recently. Here it is, a little story about the Paradise Papers. Whoops, sorry about that. A little story about the Paradise Papers. And this is basically about offshoring, corporations offshoring their money to avoid paying taxes. And this is a leak from a company called Applebee's. And Applebee's, I don't know whether you know it, are probably one of the largest companies dealing with corporations and extremely wealthy people who want to divert their income through different corporations, shall we say, and shell companies to avoid paying taxes. The core of the leak totaling more than 13.4 million documents. So there's quite a lot to get through, and it's shame on the Liberals. And here is another story. You know, the Liberals can't afford to be a party of privilege. So between trips to the Bahamas, to the Aga Khan's private island with paid for air travel and all this kind of stuff, Bill Morneau, of course this is referring to him and his failure to have a blind trust account. Here is the financial minister of Canada. Okay, the head of the Bank of Canada holds 100% of the shares of the Bank of Canada whilst he's in office. And here he is, he has a company that is doing business with the Bank of Canada and Canada Post and several other crown corporations, because the company, his family company, manage benefits and pensions and that kind of stuff. Okay, so there is a direct conflict of interest here, and he can say what he likes to try and distance himself from this, but it just looks like the rich are looking after the rich and basically screwing the poor. The thing that really bugs me about this is that the Liberal government is getting ready to cut the OAS and the GIS. Now the GIS is the Guaranteed Income Supplement and the OAS is the Old Age Supplement, and these two benefits top your CPP, your Canada Pension Plan, up to around about $1,450 a month for a single person. And if you multiply that by 12, that is $17,500 per year. So the poverty line is a threshold, and when you fall below that, you are not earning enough money to live on in Canada, and the poverty line is $25,000 a year. Okay, so here you have the government, the very same government that puts out the figures for the poverty line and where that threshold is, okay, and knowingly giving pensioners who've worked all their lives in Canada an income that falls way below that threshold of the poverty line, quite a bit below. They're about 75% of the income required to fall below that threshold. And I think that is an absolute disgrace when we're throwing away money left and right, whether it is the Oakville power plants at the provincial level, or whether it's finance ministers and prime ministers at the highest level in Canada in the federal government, basically fixing it so that they are protecting their incomes whilst decimating the incomes of the most vulnerable people in our society. Well, thank you very much, Justin Trudeau. We've seen your true colours, you and Bill Morneau, and probably the rest of you are all the same, just an entitled bunch of jerks. And I think that's putting it mildly. Okay, so you can take your entitlement and you can stick it where the sun don't shine, okay, because we are getting a little bit tired of this garbage. Okay, next story. Louis C.K. goes down. There is one every day right now going down with these sexual misconduct charges, and the stories of sexual misconduct are true, says Louis C.K. And it's kind of interesting how quickly this guy has come forward and admitted his guilt. And of course there is some real payback for this. Netflix has cancelled his new comedy special, and citing his unprofessional and inappropriate behaviour. He'd been tapped for 2 specials, with the first airing in April. Let me just cut to a little clip from Louis C.K., who I have never really found funny myself. I'm not too keen on the potty mouth humour that we seem to find today. The only person that was really good at that was good old George Carlin, and he's dead. God bless his soul. Anyway, here is a cut of Louis C.K. that Mark Dice managed to dig up, and where he found this from I have no idea, but let me tell you, it's an interesting little clip, and it may lead you to wonder where these investigations are going to end up going, because there is some pretty dark stuff out there. I can tell you that right now.
I'm waiting. I'm curious what their kid looks like because they're so beautiful. Maybe I want to fuck their kid. I don't know. I'm not going to fuck a kid. I wouldn't do that. Maybe a dead kid. Who are you hurting? He's dead. Who are you hurting? I'm not saying I would kill a kid and fuck him. I'm saying if I found a dead kid in a field and it wasn't raining, I might take a shot. I don't know. I haven't been in that situation.
So what did you think of that? Now, I thought this was an interesting little article. What has happened to respectful debate in Canada? This is by Erna Paris, and I suspect that she is a traditional feminist who is basically looking for equality, which I think we're all looking for, equality and respect in the workplace or wherever that might take place. But she is writing to the way in which the debate is taking place. Okay, so I'm just going to read a little bit of this article because it is quite interesting. And it says, another distracting development has been a self-serving effort to redefine common words, such as the term racist. According to a teenager of my acquaintance, some Ontario teachers are using the word to apply uniquely to those who are presumed to hold power, meaning that only white people can exhibit the floor. It has been a near universal understanding that anyone, regardless of skin colour, can harbour hatred and hold racist views. How will children learn to think with nuance about difficult questions if their teachers eschew history, context and moral complexity? Last month, another indication of the emerging zeitgeist took place at Dalhousie University when its Students' Union condemned Canada 150-year celebrations because of the country's exploitative history with Indigenous people. After a student launched an obscenity-laden tweet in support, engendering a complaint, the university decided to investigate but withdrew when mounting anger seemed to preclude a mediated solution. There was much that was disturbing about the Dalhousie affair. The student motion was certainly open to debate, but the tweet was not. It was, on the contrary, an attempt to silence speech in the name of free speech. The second problem was the capitulation of authority when faced with intimidation. The retreat of the university leadership sent a message that balanced discourse on a sensitive matter would not be possible, leaving everyone without recourse. The third concern was gross incivility in the public sphere. How many will risk engaging publicly if their interlocutors are more likely to hurl insults rather than to debate the issue? Because Canada is a diverse society largely sustained by historical compromise and goodwill of its citizens, it will always be a fragile place, one that needs vibrant oversight. And this is what I think a lot of us have been finding, is that you just cannot talk to these, shall we say, social justice warriors who are just absolutely rabid. It's my way or the highway. And if you try to enter into some kind of reasoned discussion and debate, they're going to hurl insults at you. They're going to call you a Nazi and a fascist and a racist and a misogynistic, sexist bastard. Well, that does not go well to open a conversation. Anyway, to the rescue. Anyway, to the rescue, Dr. Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson creating climate of fear and intimidation, U of T's Faculty Association. So what has happened? I don't know if you have heard of Dr. Jordan Peterson, but he is a psychology professor at the University of Toronto, and he caused quite a storm when he publicly declared his opposition to Bill C-16, which is the gender-specific language bill that just passed in Canada earlier this year. And he basically said, well, I'm not going to be told what words I'm going to use, and I'm going to decide on a person-by-person basis how I'm going to address them and what our relationship is going to be, but I will not be told by the government the language that I can use, especially when it is distorting that language. So anyway, basically what has happened is he has said he's going to put up a website, and that website is going to contain information about course matter that is being presented at the University of Toronto, and in fact any university across Canada and the US, I believe, because he has obtained an algorithm that will pick out postmodernist feminism doctrine and also Marxist doctrine. And of course, all of the professors who teach gender studies and women's studies and native studies. So the reaction of the other professors has been overwhelming, and they are completely freaked out. And to be quite honest with you, I think it is actually rather funny the way they're responding. And I'm going to tell you why in a minute that particularly appeals to me. But let me first read from this piece. Education Reporter. A plan by University of Toronto psychology professor Jordan Peterson to launch a website that would allow students to identify leftist faculty has created a climate of fear and intimidation and is a threat to professors and the academic mission of the university, the school's faculty association says. In a statement released Friday afternoon, the association demanded a meeting between its executive members and University of Toronto Provost Cheryl Reger to express their deep concern. Asking for such a meeting is an unprecedented step, the statement says. The Faculty Association's comments came after professors from the school's Women's and Gender Studies Institute sent a letter to the university administrators and student leaders detailing Dr. Peterson's plans to start a site that identifies faculty and course reading lists that are what he calls postmodern. But Dr. Peterson said the concern is premature, as he has not yet launched a site. No such site exists, and the site was only trying to provide people with information, he said in an interview. Dr. Peterson has gained high profile over the past 18 months for his criticisms of what he believes is the dominance of Marxism, socialism and postmodernist ideas among university professors and students. In the United States, the political advocacy group runs a website called Professor Watchlist that seeks to advance right-wing and libertarian ideas on college campuses. A professor in California who identified on Professor Watchlist as having a radical agenda went into hiding after she received death threats, according to media reports. The WGSI document says such a site here would present a serious case of harassment, fostering unsafe work and study conditions for students, faculty and staff. We take the potential threats posed by this website as a serious occupational safety and harassment issue. So they are screaming bloody blue murder about this. And personally, I don't see any problem with it. I mean, if these professors don't have a problem with the course content of what they're teaching, then they shouldn't be worried. If they believe that their courses are offering a good value for money to the students, and they're not hiding Marxist doctrine or postmodernist theory, then what's the problem? But what I find really amusing about this is that what is going to happen is that this panic and outrage is going to drive more and more and more people to go check out Dr. Jordan Peterson. And what they're going to find when they go and see Dr. Jordan Peterson and listen to his YouTube videos, that here is a completely passionate, unbelievably intelligent man. He's passionate and compassionate, okay? And when you listen to him, you will realize that he is just a common sense kind of person, speaking common sense to the vast majority of people out here. And I believe that feminism has completely fallen off the rails, and I'm tired of this angry rhetoric, this reverse racism that's going on right now with this anti-white prejudice. This is not going to solve anything. It is just going to create more and more and more problems. And you know, I was thinking the other night, I was driving home and I was listening to the CBC's program on the radio, Saturday Night Blues, with Olga Peterson, and you know, just about every song had some kind of sexist, misogynistic thing in the words. So what are we going to do now? We're going to ban all blues songs, are we? Because everyone was, I'm going to get my woman, I'm going to shoot my woman down, I'm going to get laid, shake your money maker. I mean, you know, it was just loaded. And the music was great. So what are we going to get rid of all of this stuff? Is this where we're going to go to? You know, where are we going to end the victim status of all of this? I think that it's just leading to a terrible place, and I am in 100% support of Dr. Jordan Peterson. Okay, and I would like any of the people who watch my videos to go and check out Dr. Jordan Peterson. You're going to find a most incredible person, and he has changed my life, I know that, with some of his insights. And we're not just talking about political stuff, his insights about human personality. Absolutely brilliant. Please go check him out. I think you're going to like this guy. And I think these social justice warriors are just shooting themselves in the foot by screaming their heads off and attacking this man, because the more you attack Jordan Peterson, the more support he is going to get, because he is completely rational. So this is Hound Dog Steve signing off for a weekly wrap-up. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this video, and click on that little bell and make sure that you don't miss any of the updates. Please, you have a great, safe week. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you real soon. Bye now.